nothing wrong with opinion journalism. There's nothing wrong with advocacy journalism. I mean, it's a long tradition in this country as well. I mean, we have editorial pages in our newspapers, we have op-ed pages, and that's perfectly healthy. I think the challenge comes when the line gets blurred, when people are not saying, yes, I'm giving you my opinion, rather than telling you what I think is the truth.
You mean where news is presented in an opinionated manner?
Exactly right. Because I think we owe it to the audience to tell them when we're telling them something because we think it's true, as opposed to when we want it to be true, or even worse, when we think they want it to be true. And that's the danger. But I also think, despite the fact that there's roles for opinion journalists, there's also a role for some organizations who are just trying to get it right.
Just report the news?
Yes.
Without opinion?
Yes, exactly right.
I recalled and then brought up that interview from 2012 earlier this week when a Rasmussen poll crossed my screen, the one that pondered which is the bigger problem in politics today and gave readers several selections. I was beginning to wonder about the truth behind the poll when I noticed that nowhere in the selections was the choice, the fact we as voters keep electing the same blustering boobs and blowhards over and over and over again and never hold ourselves accountable because we're always seeking to blame somebody else. But despite that minor omission, I decided the query was worthy of note. 47% of the respondents said the biggest problem with American politics is media bias. 45% said money. The survey also stated that 66% of respondents believe the media is too powerful when it comes to politics. So let's start there. We in the media are only powerful because of you, the viewer, and we become powerful when we deliver information and messaging that informs and entertains. When I first got back into this business, when Marconi was stringing his first telegraph wires, we were told never under any circumstance insert your personal view into the reporting, Journalism 101. But the game has changed. You want opinions. You seek them out, and usually for two reasons. One, you want affirmation that you're correct in your way of thinking. Two, you're honestly seeking out opinions, ideas, thoughts, and commentary that you haven't heard before and hope that you might learn something, allowing you to make a rational and common sense decision. This program was founded on being fair, on honestly seeking to look at every side of an issue and present it to our guests and allow them to comment, because they, as the experts, are the ones most likely to shape your views. We present opposing ideas, ask why some people believe in certain fashions, and at times seek to separate fact from fluff at all times. It makes plenty of people uncomfortable, but the resounding response we get from our viewers is an appreciation of questioning everything. Sure, we don't always spit out exactly what you want to hear, and it might make you angry, might even make you toss something into that monitor screen, though I would never suggest that. You ever tried to clean out a whipped dessert from the screen edges? It doesn't work. But I believe we have the smartest and most inquisitive audience in broadcast TV. And to that end, let's take a few moments here and deliver some really unbiased fact. No opinion, just fact.
I know the best people, and I'm totally self-funding my campaign. So I don't have to take donors and special interest people and lobbyists. I don't have to bring them in.
Donald Trump's smack on when he says he accepts no money from lobbyists or special interest groups, and he does not hold any high-profile fundraising events. But he is not completely self-funded. His campaign brought in $19.5 million in 2015. Trump gave nearly $13 million from his own pocket. That means some $6 million came from individual contributions. And Mr. Trump should make it clear that most of the money he's given to his campaign are loans and not donations. Anything wrong with it? Of course not. It's laudable. Any politician doesn't have to take money from crooks and underhanded influence peddlers in D.C. Give him chops for that. But ask him to be completely honest on this and other issues. Nothing wrong with that. And it would elevate him above the usual fray.
In a very competitive global economy, what we have to say, if we want to compete, we're going to have colleges and universities tuition-free in the United States of America.
Bernie Sanders may get a lot of applause from those who hear the word free. They get a tingle up and down their body parts, but his numbers don't and cannot add up. He estimates the cost at $75 billion a year. It's impossible. Nothing more than a guess, something he refuses to admit. His plan does not take into account rising costs, cuts to state or local budgets, revenue from private gifts and investments, rising enrollment rates, and the false promise of erasing student loan debt. This is just the tip of this melting iceberg. While not impossible, Sanders' statements are filled with holes and unanswered questions and fails to employ even basic economics. At the end of the day, every smart economist sees nothing more than increased government spending, which means increased taxes, and that means you're paying for it. So how about it, America? You ready for a constant review of facts without opinion, or are you too scared to know the truth about your candidates? Tell me about it, because we're going to be pushing forward a lot of truth in the next few weeks, exactly what the candidates say, and then we will ask you about the truth and what you think about it. Rock on, true believers. See you tomorrow back here on The Hardline.